Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's session that will be about green hydrogen economy and the impact on the Finnish lubricant market. I'm very happy and excited about this presentation because certainly it's a new topic, it's a hot spot, and it's a lot of, has created a lot of interest around the markets. Before going to do that, I would like to just say a few words about Klein really quickly because I assume that most of you in the audience are familiar with Klein and what we do. So Klein is a global management consulting and market research firm. We are recognized by our different types of solutions in the different practices that we offer and serve. Myself, I'm part of the energy practice. We offer solutions in the market research report area, but also offer more customized research. And also we are operating in the management consulting area. So today's presentation, the green hydrogen economy is basically has capitalized precisely on that long trajectory of clients in the different practices, in particular in the energy business. We are very well recognized by covering a number of reports and titles, and the latest focus that we are putting a lot of effort is precisely on sustainability and any type of sustainability-driven disrupting forces and what is the direct implications for the different type of markets that we serve. As you can see here, electric vehicles, natural resources, clean, renewable, biodegradable products, and so on. So happy to be here sharing some of the insights and the learnings about the green hydrogen economy. First of all, I would like just to go to some basic definitions to start, and really very basic and quick. Unlike gray and blue hydrogen, green hydrogen is the one that is truly net zero. And why? Because it's based on water. Water is the feedstock for the production of hydrogen and electricity, and that's the most important requisite I would say for that is that electricity has to be coming from renewable type of energy, so mainly wind and turbine and wind and solar energy basically. The other types of green hydrogen like green or blue hydrogen, for example, they are coming for fossil hydrocarbons, most commonly natural gas, and they have some, emissions, CO2 emissions. And that's why they are not considered net zero. The green hydrogen technology, they have quite a good, benefits. Precisely, out of discussion, the sustainability, performance of credits, the versatility, and also the type of economic growth that can generate. But there are also a number of downsides that are still preventing their wider deployment. And those are concerns to technical commercial considerations, but also they are related to water scarcity and safety considerations as well. That's precisely the reason why, according to the International Energy Agency, less than 1% of global hydrogen production is coming from green hydrogen in 2021. So that's it about the green hydrogen, and precisely the small production is that motivated the European Union authorities, and precisely the European Union has the firm determination to change that, essentially, to improve and increase that 1 or less than 1% of green hydrogen production. And that's centered on their next deal, renewable, better, sustainable economy that the EU is aspiring to have by 2050 to become carbon neutral. At the first stage of these mega trend projects, I would say the efforts would be in centering into this, creating the supply centers, basically creating electrolyzer capacities that are expected to be about 6 gigawatts in, through 24 and 2 times 40 gigawatts by 2030. Half of that would be in EU countries, and the other 40 gigawatts are planned to be in countries outside the European Union, essentially Ukraine or Northern Africa as well. So that's the core first stage, to create the necessary supply demand that will be mainly serving those hard-to-abate decarbonization and use applications that are mentioned here. As you can see, the diagram is a quite complex ecosystem, and those end-use applications will be primarily located in the transportation, but also in the power generation or cogeneration sector to heat and power residential or commercial premises. So this is the plan for the EU, and it seems quite ambitious actually. And moving into the next slides, I would like to just give different answers if those projects are doable, viable, or could be materialized. So given the high level of uncertainty, we have around 3 types of different scenarios, let's say. So the base case scenario, which is observed in the upper left bar chart, in the middle is the base case scenario, which is basically assuming a full implementation or current and future projects related to green hydrogen production within the EU energy transition framework, basically. So assuming that all that will happen, we have this base case scenario, which actually is counting with a production of 10 million of green hydrogen in the right upper chart in 2030, in about 50 million of tons of green hydrogen by 2050. So certainly this is quite a challenge, and our preliminary estimates are basically indicating that for that to happen, an annual capacity of about 50 gigawatts will be required to meet those targets. We are talking about only the additional capacity coming from wind turbine energy. This is a quite a challenge, and as you can see here in the bottom side of the chart, you can look at the annual average addition of wind energy in Europe over the last decade. It's just been about 11 gigawatts of onshore and 2 gigawatts of offshore wind turbines. So certainly that's not a really easy task. However, the European Union, with these announcements and with these very ambitious plans, have created the propitious market conditions where we can see that already some changes are happening. That's created a lot of interest for a diversity of stakeholders participating in the market, which are embarking in a number of projects and consortium platforms in a concerted, effort from different players, from the private entities, energy companies, utility companies, and all of them are gathered under one single umbrella of an European Union institution. Interestingly enough, some of those projects has been named after a number or after an animal. So you can see here in the tables projects like Black Horse, Green Flamingo, Silver Frog, for example. And now, what is really the impact on of green hydrogen, energy, and what is going to happen when they are going to be used in those different type of end users? So that's an importance for us from the perspective of finished lubricant market standpoint. So there will be, as anything, there's a coin with two faces, basically, a positive and negative one. So on the negative side, we have, or could expect, a market contraction that's already happening, actually, especially in areas like industrial lubricants, where we see already a declining trend, and that is basically happening because of the transition from thermal generation to renewable power generation and the related associated, operations like coal and coke mining, for example. In the areas of automotive, we can see that also green hydrogen in their applications and fuel cell vehicles, I will see in the next slide, will have also the potential to eliminate the use of certain early adopting, early decarbonizing sectors, as in the case of freight trucking, and especially the case of engine oils, heavy-duty motor oils. On the positive sizing, I think that that will be of the interest for most of the audience. We have a growth that will be not only in terms of volume, but also in terms of value. In terms of volume, we'll see generated amounts of, synthetic products that will be related for the production of renewable wind, solar energy that will be needed for feeding those catalyzers to produce green hydrogen. So wind turbines would be certainly one of the winners. Also, biolubricants could have, increased demand as a number of offshore wind turbines would be operating in environmental sensitive zones. In the area of the value, certainly green hydrogen has the potential to drive, innovation. Finished lubricants will have to adapt and react to emerging incremental performance requirements that are created by new operational conditions. So it would be necessary to have, dedicated EV fluids, for example, in the case of engine oils, for hybrid or transmission fluids and greases for fully electric vehicles. Same could be expected from the industrial side as well, in the case of natural gas engine oils, multi-purpose greases, and synthetic lubricants. In the case of...
I wonder if you wanted to bring the poll and hide that page for a second, as we wanted to discover things from you.
Sure. Well, we can do it. I think that it was fast enough, so we can still try it, Pilar. Sorry for that.
No, we're just curious about everyone's thinking which end-use application can be considered as an early adopter of green hydrogen. And I'm going to launch the poll for everybody. If you could try to... Sorry?
Yep, good.
Yeah. If you can read through the question and help us understand what your thoughts are, that would be ideal.
Right. So we have here the question, which end-use application can be considered an early adopter of green hydrogen? That's the question. Which end-use application can be considered an early adopter of green hydrogen? And the answers are coming.
Yeah, a few more, we have about 60% of people answered right now. A few more moments. I think we're ready to comment on that, right, Charbel? I'm ending polling right now.
Right.
Can you see the answers?
I will share results. And those are the answers. Wow, okay. 60% power generation, 17% trucking, 3% steel manufacturing, and marine 20%. Well, good. So I think that I will close the window. Yeah, I think that the first question, I think that it was, we agree, and I think that is something that I think is widely anticipated by the market. Essentially that, this is the exercise we have done in Climb, based on two axes, basically, or aspects. One is the market pool, the level of interest, either in terms of incentives, pressure, and on the other side, what is, the technological barrier, how long it will take for a certain technology to reach the level of maturity to make an important breakthrough, for green hydrogen in this case, in the given application. And certainly, yeah, power generation, as you can see, the market pool, is not as high, but certainly the technological, barrier is less of, of an impediment, let's say. Certainly, nowadays, hydrogen is being used already together with natural gas in blends in natural gas, power generation. I will talk more in details into that, but the second one is here trucking. I think that it was also some of the inputs that we have that, already fuel cells vehicles are already available, and, is a mix of market pool because of corporate policies, corporate social responsibility policies, and also a level of, subsidies or incentives as well. Still, we believe basically two of the last end users that we have assessed in this exercise is steel and marine, and we believe that those two will be the laggards or the ones that will be adopting that in the later phase because of different considerations, and mainly because the technological let's say challenges that the adoption of green hydrogen is posing. So absolutely, in most of the cases, we have the same kind of expectations are aligned. Now let's take a look on each individual very quickly, each individual end use and what would be the immediate effect of green hydrogen. So in the case of natural gas, as mentioned already, that's not a new thing. Natural gas, together with hydrogen has been used already in power generation. The only thing is that, the level of participation of those plants is still low, from 10–20% gas and green hydrogen, and the rest 80%. The most of that is natural gas. But the ultimate goal is to increase that the proportion of hydrogen in those plants. And then when it comes really the technological complexities in the, that are related to the specific combustion and, flammability issues with hydrogen. For that, we are anticipating as well that it could be necessary a reformulation for natural gas engine oils. They have to tackle those considerations in terms of corrosion, in terms of, fixing or tweaking the additive packages that will be used in those kind of oils, especially because the combustion of hydrogen is clean and lean and will not lead to soot formation. Therefore, it would be expected that less of detergents or dispersant additives. Secondly, we have trucking, and that's an area of high interest actually. Again, here we can see the two sides. The positive, on the positive one, certainly it will require a number of dedicated EV fluids that will be targeting considerations around thermal management, around how to better protect different pieces and different powertrains. And on the negative side, it will be according to our estimates that about 10 to 15, let's say, in a broad range, kilotons of heavy-duty motor oils could be lost just because of the increase in penetration of fuel cell, hydrogen-powered fuel cells vehicles, which are expected based on different projects to be around 45,000 in 2030, but that number is expected to increase to 500,000, 500,000 by 2050. In case of steel manufacturing, we have also analyzed this area because it's a very hard to abate technology. The impact of lubricants demands is not expected to be as significant just because, the process of iron making, steel making is less lubricant intensive. However, there will be some changes, I would say indirectly connected to the deployment of green hydrogen, and those are mostly associated or derived from the change or equipment change that will be accompanying the shift from coal to green hydrogen. One of the winners, so I would say the winning areas is wind turbines lubricants, certainly, because as mentioned before, there will be enormous amounts of new wind onshore, offshore wind turbine energies will be necessary to fit the electrolyzers. And again, we have made some calculations, and that's saying that about 1 to 2 kilotons per year will be needed for wind turbines farms. Another, indirect market that could be also benefit from that would be biolubricants. Certainly, offshore wind turbines farms will be the ones that will be expected to have the biggest demand or growth because of different situations, lack, shortage of lands, environmental situation. So green hydrogen based on offshore wind turbine farms are the ones that will be really exploded, let's say, and those are operating in North Sea areas. So it can create basically the demand for biolubricants because of different type of international convention agreements for protection of aquatic oceanic environments. In the case of marine, this is the last end use that we have analyzed in this exercise. So we see that this is a market that is still far away for green hydrogen, and that's for many reasons. One of the most important is because the enormous amounts of money investment necessary to change the OEM's equipment is a highly regulated market, and also green hydrogen is is also competing with some other alternatives like biofuels or methanols, for example. Fuel cells, synthetic fuels that are based on green hydrogen, that seems to be a most kind of viable alternative for the usage of green hydrogen, not certainly as fuel cells that are already being used for small coastal vessels or onboard engines, but not at the largest scales, really. Having said that, the core part of the presentation today is being basically covering or focusing on Europe, but the green hydrogen energy revolution is truly a global phenomenon. So I would be more than happy to be sharing some of the insights of the green hydrogen revolution or the regions in the world in the next future. You can see here what are the major undertakings that are being planned in different regions of the world. Finally, I just would like to conclude this presentation by saying that the drive to zero energy is here, and essentially there will be a lot of opportunities for a number of all participants in the lubricant markets industry. Lubricants products, as in the past, they have and they will have a major participation in maximizing the carbon mitigating benefits from the green hydrogen energy. For that reason, the players, market participants, they have to be very agile in identifying what are the different emerging needs and the different consumption points. If those are opportunities for off-the-shelf products, lubricant products for, in areas that are growing and are connected to the production of green hydrogen, like renewable wind energy, for example, or will be more, identifying opportunities in emerging market niches, like in the areas of electric vehicles for it. Also, players will have to be very agile in identifying evolving operational and business practices, identifying synergies with other transforming forces such as the digital economy, while still looking for new business models. And I believe that was the last slide that I have to share with you. Thank you very much once again for your time, the interest. And with that said, I would just like to open the floor for any questions you may have. Thank you very much. Ira, back to you.
Hi, Charbel. Again, we have one question the questions, actually several questions, they're quite specific, but I'll start with one that maybe you can help with right away, which is what is more efficient, use of H2 in trucks via ICE or FCEV?
Yeah, that's the question actually. If we thought about the level of disruption of green hydrogen in trucks is basically using the same type of internal combustion engines. That could be efficient in the sense that also will have zero emissions. I would say that I'm not really completely technical, expert here, I would say this would be more related to safety of handling hydrogen, perhaps. But it's something that experts will be thinking and working on that. That will be, just because of the different, molecular hydrogen is certainly is an atom that can leak, can migrate from the tanks. It's highly flammable. So I would say that both are efficient for the carbon mitigating point of view. It's a question about the technicalities, how to get there. That would be my answer for the moment.
Also, I just realized that I think we do cover the impact of green hydrogen in our HDMO 2040 study, and you're not the project manager for that one because you're the PCMO.
That would be part of the scope, essentially. Yeah, that's one question that will be covered in that study as well, based on the increasing interest from from the market about that as well. How would be using hydrogen in internal combustion engines?
Yes, so you guys watch out for our HMO 2040 study where we're gonna have we'll be focusing on heavy duty motor oil and impact of green hydrogen. Another question is way too specific. I'm not sure if you're gonna cover that one right now. And I think you can read through it in case I'm not saying it correctly. What is the expected need for compressor lubricants in H2 production and transport? I'm not even sure we covered that in our report.
I think that we have covered that in some specific areas, for the transport or the in the storage as well. But I don't have that connection, the answer right away. Perhaps we can take that offline, and I can get back to Christian later on.
Sounds good. And I think everything else seems to be clear. I think people have more questions. And they can connect with you directly. You can see also, you can see Cheryl's contact information in front of you. And on this contact page, also your account managers, if you know somebody, you can connect with them directly. You have somebody to help you in each region of the world. So hopefully it will be in your time zone as well and help immediately pretty much. So feel free to connect with us. Thank you all for now for attending, and we hope to hear more questions from you in the future and connect with us after this webinar, right, Cheryl?
Yes, correct.
Great. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now.
Thank you.